Today we begin a journey together. This is not only about learning English, but also about life. In this story, you will see that waiting for the perfect moment is a trap. Many people believe they must be ready before they begin. They wait and wait, but nothing changes. They feel stuck, afraid, and small. But I want to show you a different path. You do not need the perfect moment. You do not need to be ready. You only need to start where you are. Think about this. Have you ever told yourself, I will start tomorrow? Maybe you wanted to exercise, but you said, I am too tired today. Maybe you wanted to study English, but you said, I will start when I have more time. Maybe you wanted to follow a dream, but you said, I am not ready yet. Days pass, weeks pass, months pass. Still, nothing begins. You keep waiting for the right time, the perfect chance. And while you wait, life keeps moving forward. This is the pain of waiting. You watch other people move ahead. You see them speak, work, grow, and shine. You think, why not me? But then the voice inside says, not now. Later. And so, you stay in the same place. The truth is, there is no perfect time. Life will never bring you the perfect moment. There will always be problems. There will always be fear. If you wait until you are ready, you may never start at all. Let me share a simple story. There was a young man who wanted to learn English. He dreamed of traveling, of working in another country, of speaking with people from around the world. But each time he thought about learning, he became afraid. He thought, my English is too bad. People will laugh at me. I need to study alone until I am perfect. So he waited. 1 month passed. 2 months passed. A year passed. Still, he waited. One day he met a friend who had started learning English 6 months ago. This friend was not perfect. He made mistakes, forgot words, and sometimes spoke slowly. But he was learning. He was speaking. He was growing. The young man was shocked. How can you speak already? He asked. The friend smiled and said, I started where I was. I was not ready, but I began. That answer opened his eyes. He saw that waiting only gave him nothing, but starting, even small, gave progress. He realized he did not need to be ready. He only needed courage to take the first step. This is the heart of our message. Start where you are. If you have little time, use little time. If you know only 10 words, use those 10 words. If you feel nervous, speak anyway. You do not need to be great to begin, but you must begin to be great. Now let us think of the 2 paths. On the first path, you wait. You wait for the right book, the right teacher, the right moment. You wait for more money, more time, more skill. You wait for fear to disappear. On this path, you stand still. Nothing changes. Your dream stays far away. On the second path, you begin now. You begin with what you have. You take 1 step today, even if it is small. You read 1 page. You listen to 1 song. You learn 1 new word. On this path, you move forward. Your dream comes closer. You grow each day. Which path do you want? Do you want to stay in the same place, waiting for a tomorrow that never comes? Or do you want to move forward step by step, starting today? Remember, mistakes are not the enemy. Fear is not the enemy. The real enemy is waiting forever. When you start, you give yourself power. You tell yourself, I can do this. You feel alive again. Even small progress gives you energy. Think again of the young man. At first, he waited. He wasted time. But when he finally began, something changed. He made mistakes, yes. People corrected him, yes. But slowly, his words grew stronger. His fear became smaller. His dream became real. And now, I want to speak directly to you. Maybe you are listening to this because you also wait. Maybe you are afraid to begin. Maybe you think, I will start tomorrow. But I ask you, why not today? Why not now? Take this moment as your new beginning. Do not wait for perfect English. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Use what you have. Begin with the words you know. Begin with the time you have. Begin with the courage inside you. This story is your invitation. It is a hand reaching out to you. Will you take it? Will you start where you are? Because here is the truth. When you begin, even small, the world opens. New doors appear. New people come into your life. New strength grows in your heart. And one day you will look back and say, I am glad I started. So let us walk this path together. Let us take the first step today. In the next section, we will see the power of that first step. We will see how one small action can change everything. The power of the first step. In the last part, we talked about starting where you are. We said you do not need to wait for the perfect moment. You only need to begin. But now the question comes, how do we begin? The answer is simple. We begin with the first step. It may be small. It may feel weak. But that first step is the seed of everything great. Let me tell you a story. There was a boy who dreamed of running a marathon. He watched videos of strong runners. He imagined himself crossing the finish line, people cheering, his heart full of pride. But when he tried to run, after only 2 minutes, he felt tired. His chest burned. His legs felt heavy. He thought, I cannot do this. Maybe I am too weak. Maybe this dream is not for me. So he stopped. He stayed at home and kept dreaming. Days passed, then weeks. He looked at his shoes but did not put them on. He told himself, I will start when I am stronger. I will start when I feel ready. But inside, he felt sad. The dream stayed far away. One morning, his grandfather saw him sitting quietly. The boy shared his problem. He said, I want to run a marathon, but I am too weak. I cannot run far. I fail every time. The grandfather smiled kindly and said, Then do not run far. Just take one walk around the block. The boy was confused. But how will walking help me run a marathon? The grandfather answered, Every big journey begins with a single step. If you cannot run yet, then walk. If you cannot walk far, then walk short. But move. Keep moving, and one day you will run. The boy thought about these words. The next morning, he put on his shoes. He did not run. He did not try to be fast. He only walked around the block. It took him 10 minutes. His body felt fine. He thought, I did it. It was small, but I did it. The next day, he walked again. The day after, he walked again. Slowly, his body grew stronger. Soon, he could walk longer. Then he began to jog. Weeks later, he could run 1 kilometer, then 2. Step by step, he grew closer to his dream. Months later, he stood at the starting line of a marathon. He remembered the first day when he could not even run 2 minutes. He smiled because now he understood. The secret was never to wait until ready. The secret was to start small, to take the first step, and to keep going. This story teaches us something powerful. Staying still changes nothing. Waiting for strength brings no progress. But moving, even slowly, creates growth. Each step is a victory. Each step builds the next. Without the first step, The dream stays a dream, but with the first step, the dream begins to take shape. Now, let us bring this lesson to English learning. Many people want to speak English well. They dream of conversations with friends, travel, or work opportunities. But when they try, they feel weak. They forget words. Their accent sounds strange. They think, I cannot do this. I am not ready. And so, they stop. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect teacher, the perfect skill. But waiting does not give them English. Think of the two paths. On the first path, the learner waits. He waits until his grammar is perfect before speaking. He waits until he finishes a whole book before trying a conversation. He waits for courage, but it never comes. Years pass, and still he waits. His dream of speaking English stays far away. On the second path, the learner takes the first step. He learns one new word today. He says one sentence out loud. He writes one short message. It may not be perfect, but it is real. Tomorrow, he does it again. The day after, again. Small steps grow into big progress. Soon he feels confident. Soon he speaks more. His dream comes closer. The difference between the two paths is not talent. It is not luck. It is not a secret method. The difference is simple. One person waits, the other begins. So ask yourself, what is your first step? Maybe it is reading one page today. Maybe it is watching a video in English and repeating one sentence. Maybe it is writing 3 lines in your notebook. Maybe it is saying hello to someone in English. It does not need to be big. It only needs to be real. Do not say, I will wait until I know more words. Use the words you know now. Do not say, I will wait until I have more time. Use the minutes you have today. Do not say, I will wait until I feel brave. Courage comes after action, not before. Every marathon begins with a step. Every book begins with a word. Every dream begins with a choice. The first step may feel small, but it is the most important of all, because without it, nothing begins. With it, everything becomes possible. Think again of the boy. At first, he could not run, but he walked. That walk became a jog. That jog became a run. That run became a marathon. And think of yourself. Maybe you feel weak now. Maybe English feels too big. But you can take your first step today. Learn one word. Say one sentence. Practice one moment. That is your beginning. And when you begin, something changes inside you. You feel hope. You feel movement. You feel alive. Even if it is small, it is progress. And progress gives you energy to continue. This is the power of the first step. It turns dreams into action. It turns fear into courage. It turns waiting into growing. Do not ask, can I finish the marathon? Ask, can I take one step today? The answer is yes. Always yes. Now, as you take that first step, you may feel something inside. You may feel doubt whispering, you cannot do it. You are too weak. You will fail. This doubt is normal. It visits everyone who begins. But how do we answer doubt? That is what we will discover in the next part. Doubt versus belief. When you take the first step, something changes. You begin to move forward. You start to feel hope, but then, almost always, another voice appears. It is quiet, but powerful. It says, you cannot do this. You are not good enough. You will fail. This voice is doubt. Doubt lives inside every person. It tries to stop you before you go too far. It tries to make you small. Let me tell you about 2 students who both wanted to learn English. The first student was Maria. She dreamed of speaking with people from around the world. She wanted to travel and make new friends. She started watching videos and reading books, but each time she thought about speaking out loud, she felt nervous. Her mind said, "My English is bad. People will laugh at me. I will look foolish." She stayed quiet. Even when she knew the answer, she said nothing. Even when she wanted to try, she stayed silent. Doubt kept her still. The second student was Daniel. He also felt afraid. He also worried about mistakes. But he told himself, "I will not let doubt control me. I will try even if I fail." So, when he watched videos, he repeated sentences out loud. When he met people, he used simple words, even if his grammar was not perfect. Sometimes people corrected him, but he smiled and tried again. Slowly, his words became stronger. His fear became smaller. Can you see the difference? Maria and Daniel both felt doubt, but Maria listened to doubt and stayed silent. Daniel felt doubt, but chose belief. He believed that practice would help him. He believed that mistakes were not the end. He believed in himself, even if only a little. And that belief gave him a voice. This is the contrast between doubt and belief. Doubt says, "Stay silent." Belief says, "Speak." Doubt says, "You will fail." Belief says, "You will learn." Doubt says, "Wait until you are perfect." Belief says, "Start now and you will improve." Now think of your own journey. Maybe you feel the same as Maria. Maybe you think, "My English is not good. People will laugh. Better to stay quiet." But what happens if you listen to that voice? You wait. You stay silent. Your dream does not grow. But imagine if you choose belief like Daniel. You speak even with mistakes. You learn step by step. People correct you, and you grow. One day you look back and see how far you have come. That is the gift of belief. Belief is not magic. It does not remove mistakes. It does not make you perfect overnight. But it gives you courage to continue. It gives you strength to keep going when doubt says stop. Belief is like a light in the dark. It shows the way forward, even when the road is not clear. Let me share another small story. A teacher once told her class, "Raise your hand if you believe you can learn English." Some students raised their hands quickly. Some students kept their hands down. The teacher looked around and said, "The ones who raise their hands will learn faster, not because they are smarter, but because they believe it is possible." Belief opens the door. Doubt keeps it closed. When you believe, you give yourself permission to try. You give yourself freedom to learn. You give yourself the chance to succeed. But when you doubt, you close the door before you even begin. Think again of the two voices inside you. One voice says, "You cannot do this. You are too weak. People will laugh." The other voice says, "You can try. You can grow. You will improve." Which voice will you listen to? Both voices are inside you, but only one can guide your steps. Some people think belief means you never feel afraid, but that is not true. Belief does not erase fear. Belief means you choose to move even with fear. You feel afraid, but you still speak. You feel nervous, but you still try. That is true belief. And here is something important. Belief grows with action. The more you practice, the stronger your belief becomes. At first, it may be small, like a tiny seed. But each time you speak, each time you try, that seed grows. One day, it becomes a strong tree inside you. Then no storm of doubt can break it. But the opposite is also true. If you never try, if you never act, then doubt grows stronger. Doubt feeds on silence. Doubt feeds on waiting. The less you do, the more doubt controls you. So, what can you do today? You can choose one small action of belief. Say one sentence in English, write one message, repeat one phrase out loud. Show yourself that you can act, even if you feel afraid. That action will make your belief stronger. Think again of Maria and Daniel. Maria waited for courage. She waited to feel ready, but she stayed silent, and her doubt grew. Daniel did not wait. He believed that speaking, even badly, was better than silence. And because he believed, he acted. And because he acted, he grew. Now, I want to ask you, which one will you be? Will you let doubt control you, or will you choose belief? Remember, you do not need to believe perfectly. You only need a little belief to begin. That little belief will grow with each action. Belief is the key that opens the door to your dream. Doubt is the lock that keeps it closed. You hold the key in your hand. The question is, will you use it? Let us carry this lesson forward. Belief gives you courage to begin, but belief alone is not enough. You must also practice. You must take action again and again. Because belief without practice is only a dream. But belief with practice becomes real progress. In the next part, we will see the power of practice. We will see how small, daily effort builds strength. We will see why consistency is the true secret of growth. The practice habit. Belief is powerful. It gives you courage to take the first step. But belief alone will not carry you far. Belief is like the spark that starts a fire. If you do not feed the fire, it will slowly die. What feeds the fire? Practice. Daily practice is the food that keeps your dream alive. Without it, progress stops. With it, progress becomes unstoppable. Let me tell you a story about two learners. Both wanted to improve their English. The first learner was Anna. She was busy with school and work, so she decided to study only once a week. On Saturday, she would sit for 2 hours with her books. She worked hard during that time, but the rest of the week, she did nothing. She thought, 2 hours is enough. I will make progress. The second learner was Leo. He was also busy, but he made a different choice. Every day, he gave himself 15 minutes. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. He read one page, listened to one short podcast, or wrote a few sentences. It was not much. It was small. But it was daily. He thought, 15 minutes each day is better than nothing. I will just keep going. At first, Anna seemed strong. 2 hours looked like a lot. She felt proud of her effort. Leo seemed weak, only 15 minutes. But after a few weeks, something surprising happened. Anna noticed she was forgetting what she learned. Each Saturday, she had to review the same words again. It felt heavy, like climbing the same hill every week. She became tired and lost her energy. But Leo was different. Every day the words stayed fresh in his mind. He repeated them again and again. The sentences became natural. Slowly, his English grew stronger. He did not feel tired because the work was small. Instead, he felt encouraged because he saw real progress. This is the difference between big, irregular effort and small, steady effort. Big effort feels powerful for one day, but it quickly fades. Small effort feels simple, but it builds like drops of water filling a jar. One drop may look like nothing, but day by day, the jar becomes full. Now imagine your own learning. Have you ever tried to study for many hours in one day? You felt strong at first, but later you forgot most of it. You felt frustrated, like your hard work disappeared. That is the danger of irregular practice. But imagine giving yourself small, daily time. You repeat words every day. You listen every day. Slowly, the words stay. They become part of you. You do not forget. You grow. Think of learning English like growing a tree. If you give a tree water only once a week and too much at one time, the water will run away and not sink deep. The tree will stay weak. But if you give it water every day, even a little, the roots grow strong. The tree becomes tall and healthy. Your English is the same. Daily practice is water for your growth. Let us look again at Anna and Leo. After 6 months, Anna felt tired. She studied for many hours, but she could not see her progress. She started to doubt herself and wanted to quit. But Leo felt different. He looked back and saw how far he had come. 6 months of daily practice gave him confidence. He could speak better, write better, and understand more. He felt proud. His belief grew stronger. This story teaches us something simple but powerful. The secret is not how much you do in one day, but how often you do it. Daily practice wins over irregular effort every time. So how can you build the practice habit? Start small. Do not say, I must study for 2 hours every day. That is too heavy. Say, I will study for 10 or 15 minutes each day. Choose one activity. Read one page. Write 3 sentences. Listen to one short video. Do it every day. Soon, it will become natural, like brushing your teeth. You will not even think about it. You will just do it. Some people think, but 15 minutes is too little. It cannot help. But remember Leo. 15 minutes every day gave him more progress than 2 hours once a week. Small daily steps build a strong road. You do not need to run fast. You only need to keep moving. Daily practice also changes your heart. Each time you study, you feel a small victory. You say to yourself, I did it today. That victory gives you energy. It tells your mind, I am a person who learns every day. Slowly, your identity changes. You do not see yourself as a beginner anymore. You see yourself as a learner, as a grower, as someone moving forward. Let me share another picture. Imagine 2 people trying to climb a mountain. One person runs fast on the first day, but then stops for a week. The other person walks slowly every day, step by step. Who reaches the top? Not the runner who stops, but the walker who continues. English is the same. Slow, steady steps take you to the top. Now ask yourself, what is one small thing you can practice today? Maybe you can read this story again and say the sentences out loud. Maybe you can write a short diary entry. Maybe you can listen to a song in English and repeat one line. It does not need to be big. It only needs to be daily. Remember, practice builds belief. Each time you practice, you see progress. Each time you see progress, you believe more. And when you believe more, you practice more. It becomes a beautiful circle, a strong habit that carries you forward. But there is one more secret. Practice works best when you use the resources you already have. You do not need to wait for perfect tools or expensive books. You can start with what is around you. That is what we will discover in the next part. How to use what you have to make daily practice easy and powerful. Use what you have. Many learners think they must wait until they have the best book, the best teacher, or the best course before they can begin. They imagine a future moment when everything will be perfect. Then they tell themselves they will finally start. But waiting for perfection is another way of staying still. You do not need perfect tools to begin. You only need to use what you already have. Let me share a story. There were two friends, both dreaming of learning English. The first friend, Maria, said, "I cannot start now. I do not have the right textbook. I cannot afford an expensive course. I need a good teacher before I can really begin." So she waited. She visited websites, read reviews, and searched for the perfect program. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. But Maria still had not started. The second friend, Sam, thought differently. He did not have money for a teacher, and he did not have a special textbook. But he had something. He had free videos online. He had songs in English. He had a few friends who spoke a little English. So, Sam began. He watched one free video every day. He sang along with English songs. He asked his friends to practice simple sentences with him. At first, his progress was small. He made many mistakes. But slowly, he improved. Each day, he grew more confident. 6 months later, Sam could have a basic conversation in English. He felt proud of himself. He did not wait for perfect tools. He used what was around him. Maria, on the other hand, was still waiting. She said, "Soon I will buy that great book. Soon I will join that famous course." But soon never came. She was stuck in waiting, while Sam was moving forward. This story shows the truth. Waiting for the perfect resource keeps you in one place. Using what you have moves you forward. Even if your resources are small, they are enough to begin. Think about your own life. What do you have right now? Maybe you have a phone with internet. That phone can give you videos, podcasts, and articles in English. Maybe you have a notebook. That notebook can become your English diary. Maybe you have friends or family who know a little English. They can be your speaking partners. You may not have everything, but you have something, and something is enough. Imagine two learners again. One says, "I cannot practice speaking until I find a native speaker." The other says, "I will practice speaking with my classmates, even if their English is not perfect." Who improves faster? The second one, of course, because practice with what you have is better than waiting for what you do not have. We often believe that success comes from special tools, but the truth is, success comes from action. A simple notebook can be more powerful than the most expensive course, if you use it every day. Free online videos can teach you more than $100 book, if you practice with them. Your environment is full of opportunities, if you choose to see them. Think about the child who wants to play music. One child waits for the perfect piano. Another child takes a small keyboard and begins to play. Years later, the second child is a musician, while the first is still waiting. The same is true for English. You do not need a perfect piano. You only need to begin playing with what is in front of you. Using what you have also gives you strength. It teaches you to be creative. It makes you resourceful. If you can learn with small tools, imagine how strong you will become when you have bigger ones. But if you cannot begin without perfect tools, then even the best resources will not help you. Now let us bring this closer to you. Look around your room right now. Do you see a book? Open it and try reading one page in English. Do you see your phone? Change the language setting to English and practice every day. Do you see a mirror? Use it to practice speaking sentences to yourself. These are not special tools. They are everyday things. Yet they are powerful if you use them. The truth is, your current environment is enough to begin. The park near your house can be your English classroom. The songs on your playlist can be your listening practice. The articles you read online can be your reading practice. You do not need more. You only need to start with what is already in your hands. Maria kept waiting for the perfect course, and she stayed silent. Sam used what he had, and he found his voice. Which person do you want to be? The one who waits, or the one who begins? The one who dreams, or the one who grows? Remember this. The tools do not make you great. Your actions do. Your phone, your notebook, your environment, these are enough to start. When you begin, more tools will come. But the most important tool is your choice to use what you already have. So ask yourself today, what can I use? What is already in my hand? Then take one small step. That step may not feel big, but it is powerful. It means you are no longer waiting. You are moving. You are learning. You are growing. But as you use what you have, there is one more lesson you must learn. Progress does not happen overnight. You will need time. You will need patience. That is the next step in your journey. And that is what we will explore in the next section. Patience in the journey. A young farmer walked into his field one bright morning. In his hand, he carried a small bag of seeds. He had big dreams of tall plants, green fields, and a good harvest. With hope in his heart, he planted each seed carefully into the soil. That night, he went to bed smiling, already imagining the food and the wealth these plants would bring. The next morning, the farmer hurried back to his field. He looked at the ground, waiting to see tall green leaves. But there was nothing, only soil. He frowned. Why is nothing growing? I worked hard yesterday. I planted every seed. He came back the next day. Again, nothing. His worry grew stronger. On the third day, he shouted, "It's useless! The seeds are dead." In anger, he kicked the soil and stopped visiting the field. Another farmer also planted seeds that week. He, too, dreamed of a rich harvest. The first day after planting, he saw nothing. The second day, still nothing. But this farmer did not panic. He said to himself, "Seeds need time. Growth is slow at first, but the roots are forming underground. I cannot see it, but something is happening." Every day he watered the soil. Every day he trusted the process. Weeks passed, and small green shoots broke through the earth. The patient farmer smiled. He knew that plants need time. He kept caring for them, and soon the field was full of strong crops. His patience was rewarded. This story is the same for learning English. Many learners are like the first farmer. They begin with energy. They practice for a few days or weeks. Then they stop and say, "Why am I not fluent yet? Why is it so slow? Maybe I am not good at languages." In frustration, they quit. Their dream dries up, just like the farmer's seeds. Other learners are like the second farmer. They know results will not come tomorrow. They understand that growth is invisible in the beginning. They trust the process. They keep practicing, even when it feels slow. Over time, their English grows. One day, without even noticing, They find they can hold a conversation. They understand a song. They write a message without fear. Their patience turns into results. Think about how children grow. A baby does not walk the first day it is born. First, the baby crawls. Then it tries to stand and falls again and again. Finally, after months of small progress, the baby takes its first steps. No parent says, "Why is my baby not running yet?" It must give up. They know it takes time, and still, the baby learns to walk. English is like that. You may not notice change every day, but every small effort adds up. Every new word is like a drop of water on dry soil. You may not see the plant yet, but the roots are growing. One day, suddenly, you realize your field is full of green, but patience is not always easy. Our world teaches us to want fast results. We see videos that say, "Learn English in 30 days." We see people online who speak fluently and we feel small. We think, "Why am I still struggling?" This is where many learners give up. But remember the farmer. Growth that is real takes time. Quick promises are like fake seeds. They do not last. Let us compare two learners. One studies English for a week, but when they do not improve fast, they quit. Other studies slowly every day for 6 months. The first learner stays at the same level. The second learner, though not perfect, is far ahead. The difference is not talent. It is patience. Sometimes patience feels like waiting, but it is more than that. Patience is active. The second farmer did not sit at home. He watered the soil. He cared for his seeds. In the same way, you must practice. You must read, listen, write, and speak. You cannot rush the harvest, but you can prepare for it by working daily. Think of a tree. A tree begins as a seed. For years it grows slowly, almost invisible. But underground its roots grow deep and strong. Later, when the tree is tall and full of fruit, people admire it. They say, "What a beautiful tree." But they forget the years of hidden growth. Learning English is like becoming that tree. Your roots are forming now, even if you cannot see them. One day, your fruits will show. Patience also protects your heart. If you believe results must be instant, you will feel pain when they do not come. You will blame yourself. But if you believe in slow growth, you will feel peace. You will say, "This is part of the journey. I am still learning." That peace will keep you moving, and moving will bring results. Do not forget, small progress is still progress. Reading one page is better than none. Learning one word is better than waiting for 100. Each little step is like one drop of rain. Together, they make rivers. Together, they make oceans. Your effort is never wasted. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember the farmer who trusted his seeds. Remember the child learning to walk. Remember the tree with deep roots. You may not see change today, but your English is growing. Trust the process. Be patient. The harvest will come. And patience becomes even easier when you connect to your why. Why do you want to learn English? What dream pushes you forward? When you remember your reason, your patience grows strong. That is what we will explore in the next section. Remember your why. Every learner will face moments of doubt, slow progress, and frustration. Patience is necessary, but patience alone is not enough. You also need motivation, a reason to keep moving forward. This is your why. Your why is the heart of your journey. It is the reason you begin, the reason you continue, and the reason you do not give up, even when the path is difficult. Let me share a story. There was a worker named Carlos. He had a daughter who lived in another country. He could not speak her language well. When she called on video, he struggled to understand her. She smiled and spoke quickly, and he felt left behind. He wanted to talk to her freely, to share his thoughts and feelings. He wanted to connect, to feel close even when far apart. That became his why. Carlos decided to study English every day. At first, it was hard. He made mistakes, forgot words, and sometimes felt embarrassed. But each time he remembered his daughter, his heart filled with energy. He imagined the day he could speak easily with her, laugh together, and tell her stories. That image gave him strength to continue, even when learning was slow. Now think of another person who studies English without a reason. They read books, listen to podcasts, and try to speak, but they do not feel excited. There is no dream that drives them. They often ask, "Why am I doing this?" When frustration comes, they quit easily. Without a why, learning feels heavy, like carrying a bag of stones. Each step is tiring and motivation fades quickly. The contrast is clear. Carlos had a why. His daughter's laughter and his dream of conversation were his guiding light. Even on difficult days, he remembered why he started. The other learner had no why. Without a purpose, small difficulties became big obstacles. Motivation comes from the heart, not from schedules or rules. Your why is personal. It can be anything. You may want to travel, work in another country, meet new friends, or read your favorite books in English. It can be simple or big. It does not matter. What matters is that your why is strong enough to guide your daily actions. Carlos's story shows something important. Every time he studied, he felt his heart guiding him. He did not need to force himself. He did not need to punish himself for mistakes. His why gave him discipline naturally. When his daughter smiled on the video, he remembered his reason and practiced with joy. Learning became meaningful, not just routine. Think about this. When you know your why, even difficult tasks feel lighter. Repeating words, making mistakes, listening carefully. These are all easier when your heart is involved. Motivation does not come from fear, pressure, or comparison. It comes from connection, from purpose. When you have a strong why, it becomes easier to show up every day, to take small steps, and to trust the process. Another example. A student wants to pass an English exam. If the student focuses only on the test, learning may feel like punishment. But if the student connects the exam to a dream, studying abroad, meeting friends, getting a good job, learning feels meaningful. That is the power of why. It transforms hard work into exciting progress. Your why also helps you overcome fear. Speaking English can be scary, making mistakes can feel embarrassing, but when your heart is connected to a goal, fear becomes smaller. Carlos was afraid to speak with strangers at first. He worried about saying the wrong words, but he remembered his daughter. His why was stronger than fear. That allowed him to speak, even with mistakes, and improve faster than he expected. When you know your why, your mind and heart work together. Your mind plans your practice. Your heart drives your actions. Together, they create a rhythm that makes learning natural. You do not need to force yourself. You do not need to wait for motivation to appear magically. Your why will show you the path every day. Some learners think they need inspiration from outside. They look for teachers, videos, or friends to motivate them. but true motivation comes from within. Your why is your personal guide. No one else can give it to you. You must find it and remember it every day. Here is a small exercise. Close your eyes and imagine the moment you achieve your goal. Imagine the joy, the smiles, the connections. Feel it in your heart. That feeling is your why. Write it down. Repeat it when you feel tired or frustrated. Let it guide your actions, one step at a time. Carlos's journey shows that your why turns small actions into progress. 15 minutes of daily practice, one sentence spoken out loud, one page read. These are not small when your heart guides them. Each step is connected to a deeper purpose. Each step matters because it brings you closer to your dream. The contrast is always there. Learners without a why may practice, but their energy fades quickly. Learners with a strong why practice consistently, even when it is hard. The heart fuels discipline. The heart turns patience into progress. The heart gives courage to speak, to try, and to keep going. Now, as you find your why, think of the next step. Knowing your why prepares you to face fear. Fear is normal. Every learner feels it. Fear tells you to stay quiet, to wait, to hide. But your why can be stronger than fear. When your purpose is clear, you take action anyway. That is the next lesson. Overcoming fear and finding courage. Fear versus courage. Fear is something everyone feels. It is normal. Fear tells you to stay safe. Fear says, do not try, do not speak, do not move. Fear is a quiet voice at first, but it can be very strong. It can stop you from doing things that help you grow. But fear does not have to control you. Courage is the choice to act, even when you feel afraid. Let me tell you a story. A young learner named Lena loved coffee shops. She liked the smell of fresh coffee and the sound of people chatting. One day she wanted to practice English by ordering her drink in English. She imagined saying, "One coffee, please." But as she walked in, fear came. She thought, what if I say it wrong? What if the barista laughs? What if I embarrass myself? She walked past the cafe. She went home instead. Fear kept her silent. Another learner, Tom, faced the same situation. He also wanted to order coffee in English. He felt the same fear. He worried about mistakes, but he remembered his why. He wanted to speak English well. He wanted to practice every day. So, even with shaking hands, he walked into the cafe. He looked at the menu and said, "One coffee, please." The barista smiled. She repeated the order slowly, and Tom listened carefully. He realized he understood most of it. He made a small mistake when asking for sugar, but the barista corrected him kindly. Tom laughed, said thank you, and left. He felt proud. He had acted, even though he was afraid. He had courage. Compare Lena and Tom. Lena let fear control her. She stayed silent and nothing changed. Tom faced fear and acted. He learned, grew, and gained confidence. Fear is always present, but courage is stronger when you choose action. Fear can show up in many ways. You may feel nervous speaking to a teacher. You may hesitate to write an email in English. You may worry about answering a question in class. These are all normal, but courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to act anyway. It is speaking, writing, or practicing, even when your heart races. Imagine a river blocking your path. Fear is the thought. The river is too wide. I cannot cross. Courage is building a small bridge, taking one step on it, and moving forward. At first, your steps may be shaky. You may slip or make mistakes, but each step is progress. Each step is courage in action. Another example comes from school. Two students want to read a story in front of the class. One student is afraid. She stays silent. The other student is afraid too, but he stands up and reads anyway. He makes mistakes, mispronounces words, but the teacher corrects him gently. He feels proud. He learns from the mistakes and gets better next time. That is the power of courage. Courage is also like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The first time you speak in English may be very hard. Your heart may beat fast. Your hands may shake. But if you do it again and again, each time fear becomes smaller and courage grows. You feel more confident with each attempt. Think of small victories. Saying one sentence to a stranger, answering a question in class, writing a short message. These are all acts of courage. They may seem small, but they add up. Every time you act despite fear, you train yourself to be brave. You teach your mind that mistakes are not the end. You teach your heart that action brings growth. Fear may always appear. It may surprise you in new situations. But courage is always possible. Courage comes from belief, practice, patience, and your why. When you combine these lessons, you create a foundation that helps you face fear over and over. Even if you fail or make mistakes, courage is still there. Tom could have embarrassed himself more. He could have mispronounced more words, but he tried. Courage is measured by action, not by perfection. The more you act, the more you grow. The more you grow, the easier courage becomes. Now imagine your own life. How many times have you avoided speaking English because of fear? How many chances to practice did you miss? Think of them as opportunities to build courage. The next time, take one step. Speak one sentence. Send one message. Every small act builds your courage muscle. Compare two paths. Silence keeps you stuck. Nothing changes. You feel frustrated. Mistakes feel scary. Opportunities pass by. Courage moves you forward. You learn from mistakes, improve slowly, and gain confidence. One step at a time, courage transforms fear into progress. Remember, courage is connected to your why. When you remember why you started, fear becomes easier to face. Lena would have felt stronger if she remembered her dream. Tom acted because he remembered his goal. Your why guides your courage, just as it guides your practice and patience. Next, we will see how courage grows even stronger with persistence. Acting once is powerful, but acting every day creates unstoppable momentum. Persistence allows your courage to become natural, turning fear into a tool for growth rather than a barrier. Persistence through struggles. Success is rarely easy. It is not a straight path. Everyone who grows faces struggles. Everyone who learns English makes mistakes. Everyone who tries will sometimes fail. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is persistence. Persistence means continuing, even when the road is hard. Persistence means trying again, even after failure. Let me tell you a story about a man named Ahmed. Ahmed wanted a better job in a company where English was required. He prepared his resume in English and applied to several companies. The first company rejected him. The second company rejected him. The third company also said no. Each rejection made him feel small, sad, and frustrated. He thought, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I should quit. Many people would have stopped after a few rejections. They would have given up and said, English is too hard. I cannot succeed. But Ahmed did not. He remembered his why. He wanted a better life for his family. He wanted to communicate clearly. He wanted to grow. So, he kept practicing English every day. He studied vocabulary, listened to English conversations, and wrote emails to friends. With each small effort, he improved. His sentences became clearer. His pronunciation became stronger. Slowly, he gained confidence. After months of persistence, Ahmed applied to another company. This time, he felt ready. In the interview, he spoke carefully, answered questions, and showed his skills. The company was impressed. Ahmed finally got the job. His persistence turned failure into success. Now, compare Ahmed to someone who stops after the first rejection. That person never improves. That person never experiences the joy of progress. That person stays stuck, frustrated, and disappointed. Ahmed faced the same challenges, but he kept moving forward. That is the power of persistence. Persistence also makes small victories sweeter. Every new word learned, every correct sentence spoken, every email written without mistakes becomes more meaningful when you have struggled before. Each success feels like a reward for your effort. Ahmed remembered the days when he could barely write one sentence in English. Now every sentence he wrote for the company was a victory. His heart felt full of pride. Think about learning English like climbing a mountain. You may slip, fall, or lose your way. Some paths seem blocked, some days feel impossible. But if you keep climbing, step by step, eventually you reach the top. The view from the top is beautiful because you did not give up. The struggle makes success more meaningful. Another example is a student learning to write in English. The first essay is full of mistakes. The teacher corrects every line. It feels discouraging. But if the student continues to write every day, reading feedback carefully, each essay becomes better. After months, writing feels natural. The student looks back and smiles, seeing how far they have come. That is persistence in action. Many learners face moments when they feel their effort is wasted. They think, I have studied for months, but I still make mistakes. That is normal. Mistakes are not failure. They are part of the journey. Persistence is what turns mistakes into lessons, lessons into skills, and skills into success. Ahmed's story also shows that persistence is connected to practice, patience, and courage. He practiced every day. He was patient with his progress. He faced fear during interviews. But without persistence, none of these efforts would have led to his goal. Persistence is the glue that holds all other lessons together. Let us imagine two learners. One learns a few words and gives up after making a mistake. The other learns slowly, practices every day, and keeps trying after errors. After 6 months, the second learner speaks much more confidently. The difference is persistence. One allows obstacles to stop them. The other uses obstacles as steps forward. Persistence is not about being perfect. It is about continuing despite imperfection. Ahmed did not speak English perfectly at first. He stumbled over words. He made grammar mistakes, but he never quit. Each day he became stronger. Each day he grew closer to his goal. That is why persistence is powerful. Persistence also teaches resilience. You learn that setbacks are normal. You learn that effort matters more than luck. You learn to value small steps because small steps accumulate into big progress. Ahmed celebrated each small improvement because he knew it led to bigger success. Remember, every learner experiences struggles. Learning a new language is a journey of challenges. Some days are hard. Some days feel like nothing is improving. But if you persist, you will see results. You will feel the joy of achieving something you thought was impossible. You will see your dreams slowly become reality, and persistence does not have to be lonely. Having support from friends, teachers, or a learning community can help you continue. Encouragement from others makes struggles easier. Sharing your challenges and small victories with someone else strengthens your determination. That is what we will explore in the next section: the power of community and learning together. The gift of support. Learning alone can feel heavy. You practice, make mistakes, and sometimes feel frustrated. You wonder, am I doing this right? Will I ever improve? Many learners feel this way. Even with belief, practice, patience, and courage, going alone can be lonely. This is why support is important. Support from others makes learning lighter, stronger, and more joyful. Let me tell you a story. There was a shy learner named Hannah. Hannah wanted to improve her English, but she was afraid of speaking. She worried that others would laugh at her mistakes. She tried to study at home by herself. She read books, watched videos, and wrote sentences in her notebook. But she felt frustrated. She could not practice speaking. She felt stuck. One day, Hannah heard about a local language group. People met every week to practice English. At first, Hannah was scared. She thought, I am too shy. I will embarrass myself. I do not belong there. But then she remembered her why. She wanted to speak English to travel and meet new people. She wanted to improve. So she decided to join, even if it was hard. The first meeting was difficult. Hannah barely said a word. She listened to others, but her heart raced. She made mistakes in her mind and felt nervous. But the group was kind. People smiled, encouraged her, and waited patiently. They gave her space to speak and corrected her gently. Week after week, Hannah returned. She practiced one sentence at a time. She listened more carefully. She repeated phrases out loud. Slowly, her confidence grew. She began to speak more. She laughed when she made mistakes. She started to enjoy conversations. Support from the group helped her overcome fear. She learned faster than when she studied alone. Now, imagine Hannah studying alone without support. She might have given up after a few failures. She might have stayed silent, frustrated, and disappointed. But with encouragement, patience, and a community around her, progress became easier and more enjoyable. Support does not just help, it multiplies your learning. Learning in a group or with friends creates motivation. When you see others practicing, you feel inspired. You realize you are not alone. Everyone struggles, but everyone tries. This shared effort pushes you to keep going. Even small mistakes feel less frightening when others make them too. Learning becomes a shared adventure instead of a lonely battle. Support also helps with persistence. Think of Ahmed from the previous story, who applied for jobs and faced many rejections. Imagine if he had no friends or mentors to encourage him. The struggle might have felt unbearable. But when you have someone cheering you on, giving advice, or sharing their own experiences, you feel stronger. You understand that failure is part of the process, and you can keep trying. Another example is a student named Leo. He wanted to improve his speaking. Alone, He practiced for 15 minutes each day, but he felt unsure. Then he found an online chat group where learners practiced together. Every day he spoke with others. He made mistakes, but people corrected him kindly. He listened to others, learned new phrases, and gained confidence. His improvement accelerated because he had support. Support also reduces fear. Hannah and Leo both felt nervous at first. Speaking in front of others is scary, but friendly encouragement makes courage grow. You realize that mistakes are normal and that learning is a shared journey. Support does not remove challenges, but it makes them easier to face. Think about a mountain climber. Climbing alone is hard. The path is steep, and the weight feels heavy. Climbing with a group is different. Friends encourage each other. They share tools, guide each other, and celebrate small victories together. The climb is still hard, but progress is easier and more joyful. Learning English is the same. Support makes the journey lighter, safer, and more enjoyable. Support also strengthens your why. When you connect with others, you see new reasons to learn. A classmate may share a story about traveling abroad. A friend may tell you how English helped them get a better job. Hearing these stories reminds you why you started and motivates you to continue. Your heart becomes stronger, and your actions become more consistent. Support can come in many forms. It may be a friend who practices with you. It may be a teacher who encourages you. It may be a family member who believes in you. It may be an online group, a class, or even a language partner over the phone. What matters is connection. Learning together makes every effort more powerful. Hannah's journey shows another truth. Small steps become big victories faster when you have support. The first sentence spoken, the first conversation, the first message written, all of these moments feel bigger when someone celebrates them with you. Support gives emotional energy to your progress. It makes the process meaningful and joyful. Now, reflect on your own journey. Who can support you? Who can encourage you, correct you kindly, or practice with you? Even one person makes a difference. Even a small community can change your learning. Do not be afraid to reach out, join a group, or ask for help. Support is not weakness. It is a gift. Support also creates accountability. When someone expects you to show up, you are more likely to continue. When others notice your effort, you feel proud and motivated. Learning with support adds structure and consistency, which strengthens persistence, courage, and patience. Compare two paths: learning alone versus learning with support. Alone, you may feel frustrated, doubtful, and stuck. With support, you feel encouraged, motivated, and connected. Progress comes faster. Mistakes feel normal. Success feels shared and more meaningful. The journey becomes lighter, more joyful, and more powerful. With belief, practice, patience, courage, persistence, and support, you are building a strong foundation. You are moving step by step, overcoming fear and multiplying progress. All these lessons together prepare you for growth. The next section shows how all these lessons come together. With support, persistence, and courage, you are ready to reach new heights. Growth is possible, and your journey is about to show the results of all your effort. Growth and new beginnings. Imagine the person from the beginning of our journey. At first, they were afraid to start. They waited for the perfect moment. They said, "I am not ready. I need better tools. I will begin tomorrow." Days passed. Weeks passed. They felt stuck, frustrated, and small. Every day of waiting felt heavy, like carrying a bag full of stones. They dreamed of change, but their life stayed the same. Now, imagine that same person after learning all the lessons we have explored. They began with a small step, even though it felt weak at first. They believed in themselves, despite doubt. They practiced every day with patience and care. They used what they had, without waiting for perfection. They remembered their why, letting it guide them forward. They faced fear with courage and continued persistently, even after mistakes and setbacks. And along the way, they discovered the power of support, leaning on friends, teachers, and communities. Slowly, day by day, life began to change. The small steps they took, one sentence, one conversation, one practice session, added up. What once felt impossible became achievable. Speaking English no longer felt like a fear. They could order coffee in a cafe, chat with classmates, or write messages to friends. The sense of hesitation that once ruled their heart was replaced with confidence. Their transformation was not sudden. It was a journey. At first, every word felt like a mountain to climb. Every conversation brought nervousness, but they kept moving forward, and eventually, speaking English became natural. Mistakes were no longer frightening. They were learning opportunities. Each small effort, repeated over time, created growth that was visible and meaningful. Think about the emotional difference between before and after. Before, they watched others succeed while staying stuck in the same place. They compared themselves to others, feeling envy, frustration, and fear. After, they saw themselves growing every day. They compared themselves to their past self, and each improvement felt like a victory. Confidence replaced fear. Hope replaced doubt. Action replaced waiting. Life became richer, more joyful, and full of possibility. This is the power of starting where you are. You do not need perfect tools, perfect timing, or perfect conditions. You only need to begin. The first small step may feel tiny, almost meaningless, but it starts a chain reaction. One step leads to another. One small success builds confidence. One lesson learned becomes a foundation for the next. Over time, these small beginnings create transformation. Our learner now also helps others. They remember the days of fear and waiting. They understand the struggles of beginners because they lived them. They share their experiences, encouraging new learners to take small steps. They speak kindly to others making mistakes, remembering the support that helped them. Their life is no longer just about personal growth. It is about lifting others while continuing their own journey. This is an important lesson for all of us. Growth is not just about achievement. Growth is about becoming stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. It is about learning to act despite fear, to persist despite setbacks, and to use what you have even when it seems insufficient. It is about living with purpose, guided by your why, and reaching out to others along the way. Now, consider the contrast one more time. The before life was heavy with waiting, fear, and doubt. Every day felt like a missed opportunity. Goals remained distant. Energy was spent imagining perfection instead of taking action. The afterlife is light, active, and full of possibility. Every day is an opportunity to learn, grow, and connect. Each small action creates momentum. Each step forward brings joy, confidence, and purpose. Remember the lessons along the journey. The power of the first step sets you in motion. Belief allows you to act despite doubt. Daily practice creates progress. Using what you have prevents waiting and inaction. Patience lets you trust the process. Your why fuels motivation and heart-driven discipline. Courage allows you to face fear. Persistence keeps you moving through struggles. Support from others multiplies your progress. These lessons are the tools of transformation, and they work when you start where you are. Life does not wait for the perfect moment. That moment will never come. Waiting only delays your growth. The perfect conditions you imagine may never exist. But right now, in this moment, you have everything you need to begin. Your mind, your heart, your small actions, and your environment are enough. They are more than enough. You already hold the power to start. Think of your own journey. Imagine where you could be 1 year from now if you take one small step today. Imagine your confidence growing, your skills improving, and your fears shrinking. Imagine your dreams becoming real. That vision is not impossible. It is possible because every expert, every fluent speaker, every successful learner began exactly where you are. They did not wait. They acted. They persisted. They learned. And so can you. The transformation is not only in your skills, but in your mindset. When you start where you are, you learn to act despite imperfection. You learn to celebrate small victories. You learn to see challenges as opportunities, mistakes as lessons, and growth as a journey, not a race. Your life becomes a series of new beginnings, each one building on the last. Your growth also inspires others. Friends, classmates, colleagues, they see your effort and your progress. Your courage to start motivates them to start their own journey. Your persistence encourages them to keep going. Your support lifts them when they struggle. One small action can create ripples that change many lives. And now, the most important message: do not wait. Do not delay. Do not search for perfect tools or perfect timing. Begin with what you have. Take the first step. Speak one sentence. Write one word. Listen to one conversation. Practice for 5 minutes. Each action, no matter how small, is a spark. That spark ignites progress, confidence, and transformation. You have the power. You have the tools. You have the lessons. You have your why. You have support. You have courage, patience, persistence, and belief. You have everything you need to grow. And the most beautiful truth is this: every day you start, every small action you take, you are already moving toward a better version of yourself. Your journey begins now. Start small. Start imperfectly. Start with what you have. Start today. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the perfect moment. That moment is already here. You already hold it. And when you take that first step, when you act despite fear, when you persist despite setbacks, when you use what you have and remember your why, you will feel the power of growth. You will see your confidence expand. You will hear your voice improve. You will witness your life transform. And the next time you look back, you will see that the person who once waited, afraid and uncertain, has become someone who learns, grows, and inspires. So, take a deep breath. Look at what you can do right now. Take one small action. Speak, write, read, or listen. Begin, and trust that each step builds a bridge to your dreams. Your journey will not be perfect, but it will be real. It will be meaningful. It will be yours. Start where you are today.